Minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman Griffith and Ranking Member Castor, for allowing me to waive on to today's hearing. And thanks to our witnesses for testifying today on an issue that impacts every American. As I've traveled throughout my district, I've heard from doctors, from paramedics, from police officers, medical examiners. And you know what? They're all telling me the same thing. Fentanyl is here, and it's being distributed through a partnership of death. That's words from law enforcement. Last week, the Pennsylvania State Police released data on the drugs seized in 2023. The report showed that over 240 pounds of fentanyl were seized in the past year, compared to 35 pounds of heroin. Last year, we held a subcommittee hearing in my district in Gettysburg to better understand the effects of these drugs. We heard from a police officer who had seen significant rise in the number of overdose calls. We heard testimony from a doctor who was on the front line of treating patients with opioid use disorder. And then we heard from a father who had lost his daughter after a years-long battle with addiction. We know where the drugs that fuel this crisis are coming from. It's been well documented that these fentanyl analogs are produced in China, shipped to Mexico, where they are pressed and packaged, and then trafficked into the United States and sold on our streets. This partnership of death between entities working against the American people needs to be recognized, and it needs to be confronted. During his meeting with President Xi Jinping in San Francisco, President Biden left without any firm commitment to address the fentanyl crisis. To be blunt, we need more from the president. This crisis is affecting every community across our nation. How many more Americans must die before we take a stand and secure our southern border? My first question is for you, Mr. Blair. Mr. Blair, given that more fentanyl than ever is being smuggled through our open southern border, it is clear that the cartels have improved their techniques to overwhelm U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. Can you please describe how the Mexican cartels have weaponized migrants at our southern border?
Sure. So first and foremost, the Mexican cartels have complete operational control of the border. That's both in control, meaning governing, and also control in the skies. So they due to their the use of drones, they're able to dictate, or they're able to see exactly every one of our locations, whether that's going to be DPS, Texas Military Department, or Border Patrol. So they're able to circumvent all of our locations. Then, when they move a massive amount of migrants to the border, all of our resources are then tied to that. And unfortunately, because anyone who comes north of the border, they are somewhat indentured servants to the Mexican cartels. And they have to pay what is known as a piso. And they have to work off that debt.
How many years does it take to work off that debt for individuals?
So it all depends. It all depends on the job that they do. So they.
What kind of jobs do they do?
Okay, so first and foremost, like what you just asked, they do mule. Mr. Reese stated that that was disinformation. However, that was actually disinformation.
And when you say mule, what do they do, please?
So the Mexican cartels, unfortunately, force some illegal aliens to mule up narcotics, whether that's going to be marijuana, cocaine, fentanyl, between the ports of entry, while all of our resources are tied to dealing with the massive amounts of illegal aliens. And from that point, then they are guided by guides, and then going into either a stash house or into a load vehicle, where they also go into another stash house or into the interior of the United States. So unfortunately, we don't have oversight of exactly what is actually happening.
Do you feel that every state is a border state?
To be honest, every state is probably worse than a border state.
Do you feel that every city is a border city?
It's probably worse, given the fact that...
Do you feel that the cartels in China have made a serious threat to our southern border even more dangerous?
The Chinese have weaponized the Mexican cartels.
I think that the issues that you have discussed, the stash houses, the weaponization of individuals through human trafficking, through drug trafficking, impacts each and every American. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for allowing me to waive on to this important hearing.